are shuffling up. They have got headsets on now.
Alrighty.
So I think we can start mentioning we have got Igor there on the left, we've got Gustavo there on the right, and it looks like Igor is playing an Arceus V-Star deck, and it seems largely Arceus Inteleon, but as we see with these decks, we've got a few extra tricks in there as well. There is that Galarian Moltres in there, and we've got Crobat VMAX.
Crobat VMAX has really snuck into the format. It's a really intelligent choice as well. I do like this as a 1-1 line, mostly because you get to play Crobat V, and Crobat V really helps your early turns. You're playing a high count of Ultra and Quick Ball, so you can get access to Crobat, which really just helps you establish hands that little bit more. One thing that people hate as Arceus is if you miss getting that Arceus down, miss getting that energy down, you are far less strong, have a lot less tempo. It's very difficult for you to launch any attack whatsoever. So getting a few extra cards deeper into your deck with that Crobat really fixes those numbers. And then you have the VMAX, which means that you no longer have that easy 2-prize target for opponents to bosses orders up, which is essentially really important because the Arceus itself is a really chunky 2-prize Pokemon. So then you're giving your opponent no easy options anywhere. It's also obviously a Dark type that you can power up that helps out against Mew when needed. But it also can do some hit and run shenanigans against fellow 1-prize attacking decks like Malamar, for example. Then you keep feeding your opponent 1-prizes and trying to skew that prize race in that regard. So it does a lot all in this sort of 2-card package.
Yeah, it's another one of those Pokemon which just, looked really good when we saw it, never really found a niche, but now that we're playing so many little one-offs here and there, all of a sudden it comes back in. And it's another card that's kind of fallen out of favor a little bit because with all these searching things we got going on, it's not like it used to be. Now moving over to Gustavo, we've again got that Inteleon engine, but now we've got Rapid Strike Urshifu.
Yeah, it's actually going to be, the same components of the deck we've just seen with Tord, but built in a very different way. It feels like a lot more streamlined from what Gustavo's going for. He's got a couple other attacking V Pokemon. He's got the Galarian Moltres V in there, as well as 2 of the regular Galarian Moltres, and it's also playing its own Crobat V in the list as well. So quite a different engine, not playing the artillery that we saw in the previous game, and also going a little bit different on supporters as well. Still a number of one-offs, but we are seeing some more sort of typical cards in the list. We're seeing Professor's Research. We see a couple of Escape Rope in the deck as well, so a different take on the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, which is going to be really interesting.
Absolutely. Looking at the prizes here, we have a couple of Level Ball and Inteleon of Rapid Strike Energy for Gustavo. Nothing terribly relevant for Igor. Has lost that Galarian Moltres. Do we have a second one in the deck?
Yeah, just one for
just
Igor.
the one. So that. But then you're not hitting for weakness on anything, so it's a tech you're probably not really going to be using. So prize-wise, not terrible. I think both players are going to be moderately happy with that one. So it seems like once again we've got a bit of an Arceus party and a bit of a Rapid Strike Urshifu party.
Yeah, and I think Igor is playing something that a lot of people expected a lot of. It's going to be mostly a water-focused Arceus Inteleon, a really popular combination in the TCG right now, but with that little splash of Dark in there as well. So players are getting that handshake going, and we are going to kick things off with Gustavo going first here. And looks like he has himself an energy attachment for that Urshifu. Also has Quick Ball, so not a bad start for him at all.
No, not at all. We see that Sobble on the board for Igor here, and of course we saw in the previous game with Tord, if you're going second, you're going to want to end the turn with Sobble in the active. So if you can start the turn with Sobble in the active, that's just a rather lovely bonus. So once again, we're going to see quite a long deck search here from Gustavo. We've got another absolute top tier player, someone like you say, who's been around for a very long time. So they're going to be looking through, trying to figure out what exactly is prized here, what are the issues, and just kind of going from there.
Yeah, and one thing that I think is different, that we saw Tord really happy to go second, whereas Gustavo, he plays a few different cards to make his turn ones that little bit stronger. He plays Crobat V. He's already got 2 Quick Ball in his opening hand. He plays the full suite of 4 in his list compared to 3 from Tord. So definitely a different engine and a different take on the list already, and you're seeing it in this opening turn selection where he is able to Quick Ball out early, a couple Sobble, so a really good start from him, getting his engine rolling, and getting an early attachment on Urshifu is actually one of the scariest things in Pokemon right now. Threatening a turn 2 G-Max Rapid Flow is so dangerous, especially when Igor, right now, he's only got a Sobble, and he is very reliant on that engine. You can target down so many things. It's a really dangerous board state to represent against the opponent.
It doesn't look like we're seeing a Manaphy in Igor's deck list there either, and we saw how huge that was in the previous game. Both players playing that Rapid Strike Urshifu, one with a Manaphy, one without, and Tor with the Manaphy had a huge advantage. So Gustavo here, and you've got to think Gustavo's probably the favourite in this game because he's hitting weakness on Arceus and on Crobat if that ever comes out, and there's no Manaphy there. So, can be taking out that Inteleon engine. You have to get up to Inteleon to make yourself safe from those G-Max Rapid Flow. So we do, however, see a boss's orders from Igor, and it's going to be a pretty straightforward turn. Just searching out those Rapid Strike Pokemon with Sobble, but also just getting that boss's orders. It's not ideal, but it at least makes things a little bit more awkward for Gustavo. It's forcing him to have a switching card along with everything else.
Oh, but it's far from ideal. No Arceus down early on. That is bad news. You are not representing much pressure at all. Even next turn, you're not representing much pressure. Like, all you can really do is maybe a Melanie or a Raihan play next turn to do like 130 damage with an Arceus V. That's not the position you want to be in at all. So a very awkward opener for Igor here. He at least has Keep Calling, so he can get multiple Sobble down here, but no protection from potential spreading attacks from that Urshifu VMAX on Gustavo's side. So yeah, really not good news for him.
And I think the fact he searched out all 4 there is part of a way of saying, look, I think 2 of these are going to go down, or at least there is a good enough chance that 2 of them are going to go down. If Gustavo gets off that G-Max Rapid Flow, what we're going to see, we've got Piers coming down here with an empty hand. That gets yourself an Energy and a Darkness-type Pokemon. Gee, I wonder what the Darkness-type Pokemon is going to be.
He plays 1 Chromat V, 1 Moltres V, and 2 Baby Galarian Moltres. So there are a couple of options for this Piers, but one of the biggest
with an empty hand
deals
there isn't, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest deals is that you're getting that Rapid Strike Energy guaranteed. Tord goes via the route of having the 1/1 Artillery. Gustavo saying Piers is an excellent supporter to guarantee that energy drop, but also getting a fresh hand here with the Crobat Dark Assetting.
And the wording on Piers is absolutely huge. It has to be a Darkness Pokemon, but it can be, and Scoop Up as well. But it has to be any energy. Doesn't matter what energy it is. So you get the Crobat, and you draw 5 cards here, it looks like, and then you've got that energy. If we see the VMAX coming down, this is a huge turn. We don't see it yet. Did I see an Ultra Ball in his hand? I only got the briefest little look.
There's
it's an Evolution Incense. That'll do.
So it's going to be a big 2-prize turn here from Gustavo with no pressure coming in. Interestingly enough, Gustavo doesn't really know just yet what Igor's playing, because right now we see a basic Water Energy. This could still be Suicune or something like that right now with a pretty poor opener. So Gustavo may be just keeping things safe. Like, there's no matter what, he's going to be taking the 2 prizes this turn because it's just so dangerous and disruptive at the same time. But this has been pretty much ideal for him. He's had it all his own way so far.
Yeah, this is just a great, great start. His opponent has no Arceus down. He's down by 2 prizes, no energy on the board, nothing really established. And now he can start going, but his hand does not look good. We've got Arceus V-Star, but no Arceus. We've got Boss's Orders, we've got Energy. Has he got anything playable in that hand?
No, I mean, I could have told you his hand wasn't great by his turn last turn, but the top deck has not given him much. It may be an early concession here from Igor. He really has nothing going on for him. It's not how you want to start off your stream here, unfortunately, but Gustavo hasn't missed a beat, and Igor really hasn't had much going for him. The only hope right now is Gustavo won't be able to get another Rapid Flow off in succession, so you have one more turn potentially to sort of mill around and hope that your top decks can help you out.
Yeah, but we don't even see that much recovery index. We see kind of like a Clara, and that's it. So when this engine starts going down early, it really does. And it looks like we see an energy pass. Oof. That is not good. I mean, unless Gustavo has a terrible turn here, he's going to be up 3 prizes, and Igor's going to be 3 prizes down with a lone Sobble.
And it's an Avery to add insult to injury. Igor doesn't have to discard any bench Pokemon because there's none in sight for him right now. Gustavo is going to quick ball away the fighting energy, and he's also...
he's done it! He gets a G-Max Rapid Flow. Double KO on the Sobble. For those that missed it, he benched down that Galarian Moltres that's got the ability that lets you attach 2 extra Darkness Energy when you bench it. Energy switched over to the Urshifu, attached that Rapid Strike Energy, and took 4 prizes in 2 turns to take the win. That was wonderful.
Typically, the Rapid Strike Urshifu deck only really uses Raihan for acceleration, but with this Galarian Moltres V and the 1 prize Moltres, you have some sneaky, sneaky plays, and Gustavo really pulled a fast one on us there by getting 2 massive double knockouts there back-to-back. Yes, Igor didn't have much going on, but that's still huge from Gustavo to wrap up a really quick first game.
But even if Igor had a really good start that game and he got his Arceus out, would that have been any different?
I mean, not too different, I don't think. I mean, it's hard for any archetype to beat Rapid Flow on turn 2 and turn 3, especially when there's a potential to be hitting for weakness on Arceus, V and V Star. Very aggressive start from that Urshifu, and a really good setup from Gustavo there. Without the need for keep calling, he was still able to get a couple Sobbles out. He was able to start using that Shady Dealings very effectively. We saw the Piers coming into play as well, a really interesting supporter card that you don't see all too often, but man, it was an all-star there.
Yeah, that really was. That last turn was so fast, could barely keep up with it. And now I feel really bad because I was like, you never miss Drizzile. Well. And then Igor had his turn, and I was like, oh, sometimes you do miss Drizzile.
Yeah, it feels bad when you miss Drizzile. That was just a real stinker for Igor. He had not much going on at all, just 2 Boss's Orders and V-Star and whatever else. This can happen sometimes in Pokemon, especially archetypes like this where you play so many Ball Search outs that sometimes when you just miss that Incense, that Drizzile, that Level Ball, you just have nothing going on for you. And Arceus actually is like kind of the polar opposite to Mew. Our 2 top decks in the format are very vastly different. Mew does a million actions, a million miles a second in that first turn, tries to do all sorts of combinations. Arceus is just kind of happy getting an attachment down on its main attacker. That's all it's looking to do. And then turn 2 is when it starts power spiking if all things go well. But you can see how it can snowball out of control when you don't have those decent openers.
No, absolutely. And, I think it is fair to say that Igor, that it happens sometimes. That was a terrible, terrible start. It was only keep calling that even kept him in the game as long as it did. Otherwise, it would have been even quicker. But I think you're in a situation where you have, G-Max Rapid Flow 2 turns in a row. It's hard. We do see Gustavo has Galarian Moltres prize, and there's that 1 Crobat VMAX from Igor. Nothing too terrible, I don't think.
It does at least look like Igor can search his deck with Quick Ball here, and he's got at least 1 Arceus V down, and he also has Sobble, so a much better start. He can actually play the game. That's always a nice sigh of relief here in this game 2. A very fast win for Igor. Leaves plenty of time on the clock for a reverse sweep from Igor. That's at least the good news. He'll be looking at a few important prize cards. Dunsparce, of course, is going to be a big tech card for him. He does play Clara as well to recover it in instances, which is also a big deal for him. He's just going to go ahead and grab an early Sobble here, just to develop that. As we've seen, this engine is so important for both players' deck lists. So as long as he has an energy drop, he should be setting up for a decent turn 2.
And it is really interesting to note here that, Igor chose to go first. We've seen a lot of these decks with Sobble choose to go second, but then again, a lot of decks with Arceus choose to go first.
Absolutely. Oh, and he's missed energy drop again.
Oh,
I believe, he was holding on to Ultra Ball in his hand as well, but he chose not to go fishing for energy, which is a little bit surprising. The one good news for Igor is that he is playing a few water energy in his deck, so he can still pull off a Melanie play and attach a double turbo all in one turn, so all is not lost for him. That's a big reason why people like pairing water energy alongside Arceus. Not only can you attack with your own Inteleons when need be for a 1-prize attacker, but also you can explode Arceus out of nowhere, even from no energy board states.
Yeah, Melanie attaches that water energy from your discard to one of your Pokemon V and then draws you 3 prizes, and it's just so good. It's the reason why Suicune is so good, even though Entei and Raikou basically they're the same. Suicune uses water energy, which opens up Melanie, which is absolutely huge. So just being able to, Melanie and then attach that double turbo in the same way we've seen Raihan and those double energies, or Energy Switch and those double energies. There's a lot of free energy attackers right now that can use double energies. You just need that last one, and whether it's Raihan or Melanie or Energy Switch, we see these players are playing these tricks because pulling out those attacks from nowhere, they're so, there's a reason why they're free energy attacks. The card designers know that we've got double turbo and rapid strike energy, so they put that third energy in, and then it's up to the players to try and break it.
Absolutely, and Gustavo able to get that extra level ball in for going maximum Sobble here. Thanks to no energy drop from Igor, Gustavo has the luxury of only getting out 1 Rapid Strike Urshifu because he doesn't feel under any threat here of Boss's Orders plus pulling off any meaningful damaging attack here. So Gustavo can go full out on lots of Sobble, get that keep calling rolling, and it's a textbook turn 1 going second for the Inteleon engine.
Yeah, that's just beautiful. And now you've got so many potential Drizzile and a potential Inteleon down the line. And Igor had a good turn, missed the energy. So what are we going to see? We're going to see the Ultra Ball coming down. And with the hand as it is it Crobat time?
It potentially could be. It's really awkward putting Crobats down against Rapid Strike Urshifu, of course, but it might be something you go for here.
Or V-Star. Could be Arceus V-Star and then use Starbirth.
You can go for Starbirth, maybe get yourself like a Water Energy and an Ultra Ball, then you Ultra Ball away the Water Energy, then Drizzle for the Melanie, but then you're kind of hoping that you hit the double Turbo Energy, which is a little bit awkward. By not having any Water Energy in the discard pile early on, it really is not ideal for him. So he's he's already got rid of Amani from his hand, so he may still be having a supporter already in there, but he may just be accepting that he is forced to Trinity Charge here with his Arceus V and not even V-Star this turn.
And this is why missing the energy turn 1 was so huge, because if you get an energy turn 1, you can evolve it up, use a V-Star power to grab double turbo, and you're good. And then you've even got that second card that could be whatever you want it to be. And you've got the attack, you've got the acceleration going, you've got whatever other card you want in addition. Everything is going well. Just missing that single energy turn 1 changes entirely how you have to play it out. But we do see the fabled bosses, Professor's Research to 7.
Yeah, pretty nice. A 0-card discard there. It's always a good feeling to empty out your hand. Ultra Ball makes that much more common these days, that you can thin pre the Professor's Research for no downside, getting a fresh 7 cards. He is able to find the double Turbo Energy, which is huge here, so at the very least he can make sure that he gets even more energies into play here with that Trinity Charge. Doesn't put any damage on, unfortunately won't be scoring any knockouts here, but at least he can set up his attackers for next turn.
And that seems to be exactly what he's doing. We see those free energies being picked out of the deck. And, Gustavo here, there is a chance, all he needs to do is a Gale Thrust and then, oh no, because the Dunsparce came down. I forgot the Dunsparce. Okay, so that Dunsparce absolutely huge. So I'm liking what Igor's doing here. Yep. He's protected against the Gale Thrust Gale with a Dunsparce. He's got the energy. This is not the turn he wanted. He would much rather be accelerating that energy while taking a prize. But actually, compared to game 1, this is pretty different.
This is a much better board state. He's at least got a couple attackers ready to rumble. Gustavo can go ahead and Drizzle here. I wonder if he'll go for that energy switch again. He could still be going for a Rapid Flow thanks to that one-off that he plays in his deck list. A really interesting include, and it's something he spied straight away. Wow, this would be a really strong turn. If he was able to come up with a G-Max Rapid Flow, knocking out Dunsparce and one of those Sobble, it would be huge.
That would be huge. And you pointed it out yourself a moment ago. What's he going to... he can Clara it back. That's not an easy thing to pull off. And don't get me wrong, with a Sobble you can find the Clara, but then that's your only supporter for the turn, and then that's it. If Gustavo does it again, then that is just, those last 2 prizes off of an Arceus. And maybe that is it. Maybe it's 2 G-Max Rapid Flow followed by a... followed by a KO on Arceus or whatever it might be. But once again, we're seeing, like we saw with Tord, there are options here. And we see the scoop up net, which is huge. Doesn't just get the Drizzle out the active, but also means you can evolve a Bench Sobble into Drizzle. So here...
Time for Piers again? Are we going to be Piersing for the Rapid Strike Energy, guaranteed?
Might be time for Piers. I mean, that's the way to get it.
That's one way to guarantee it. I don't know if he already has the... Oh, wow, here we go.
Got it.
It's Piers time again. He's just going for the Rapid Strike Energy, so choosing not to take any Darkness Pokemon here. He's going to attach it. We're going to see the Evolution Incense as well. So he's got that G-Max Rapid Flow once again. Turn 2. Insane pressure from this deck. All from one include from Energy Switch. What a crazy choice from Gustavo. Really paying dividends here.
I mean, if you're Igor, you've got to be sitting here being like, how? He did it twice in a row last game, and now he's casually pulling it off with, with no energy on the board. It's just, how does he keep doing this?
Already had the Crobat in hand as well, so we can draw a fresh 6, even with the perfect turn.
Oh, my goodness.
Ready to rumble. He has even more Sobble that he may want to put down into play. Arceus is one of these attackers that doesn't really represent much pressure against Urshifu, so he is going to go full here and put the extra Sobble down, knowing that the deck plays so many scoop-up net, he can buy back that bench space later on, but it's going to be a pretty strong turn here, getting rid of Dunsparce and Sobble all in one go. A 2-prize swing, and also taking that Dunsparce out of the game to allow the Urshifu to really take control of these Arceus V-Stars.
And this almost forces Igor to go and get the Clara this turn, to go and get that Dunsparce back. And generally speaking, like these recovery supporters, mid to late game, fine. But when you're on, third turn here? He's using his V-Star power here, searching out any 2 cards. When it's early in the game and, you're trying to respond to your opponent taking a KO and you've got to use Clara as your supporter for the turn, or open up weakness on your 2 prize attackers, that is not a position you want to be put in. And that's obviously what Gustavo was thinking. Let's go after that Dunsparce. And that's the thing, a lot of players would look at it and go, well, I'll just use Dunsparce, that'll take away my weakness. Well, the really good players, your Tors, your Gustavos, they know you're playing Dunsparce. So as soon as Dunsparce hits the field, they're going, right, well, G-Max Rapid Flow then.
It was that first?
Yeah, they've got their plan. These decks, you know what you're playing against, and the really good players who test a lot, they've got this in, they've already know what they're going to be doing.
Absolutely, and Igor does play some disruptive supporters of his own. He could have been looking for like his own Avery or his own Marnie or something along those lines to slow down Gustavo's role. But that importance of Dunsparce is really backing Igor into that corner to be forced to find the Clara here as one of his choices from the Starbirth, and we'll see what else he can really piece together. He's already got an attack online, and he can start launching some damage pressure into this Urshifu. And it looks like he's just going to have a quick look at Gustavo's discard pile before making any other selection here. But yeah, as we say, pretty much forced into a Clara play. And what else can he really go for? He's already got double V-Star online. Potentially a supporter for the following turn is the best thing he can come up with here. I'm not sure what else he can really do.
Seems like he's gone for a level ball, which would open up either a Sobble or a Drizzle potentially next turn. Because obviously you could have just searched them out with a V-Star power. So that's an option. I mean, like you say, I think, you go for the Clara, you get your Dunsparce back, you probably have to into this.
Yeah.
And then even then, you're kind of done with your energy acceleration.
Yeah, you've got 2 attackers rolling and Gustavo's at 4 prizes remaining, so that's all you're going to need for the remainder of the game. But straight away we see the Sobble return as well as that Dunsparce. They're probably both coming down this turn, to be honest with you. Igor, again, has to represent the multiple Sobbles down so that Gustavo can't sort of take them all out of play in one go. Now that we've seen that Starbirth, the rest of Igor's engine is all in on Inteleon. But he is debating whether or not he wants to bench anything else. It kind of makes sense to just bench the third one prize Pokemon because Gustavo's on even prize cards, so putting a third down is never really going to get targeted. So it's really down to Igor to see what else he can come up with here. But the level ball could easily be for Drizzle this turn or just be saving it for the following because there's not many other actions he needs to do here.
No, absolutely. And he's put himself in a decent position. The thing is, he's not putting on that much pressure. You're working on a very clear 2-hit KO on that Rapid Strike Urshifu. We know Gustavo plays Cheryl. We know there's no energy on that Urshifu, so potentially Drizzle into a Cheryl will be a play for Gustavo next turn to just completely heal off that Urshifu. Or, he could be going for a Gale Thrust, potentially even trying to gust up and KO that Dunsparce, assuming he's got boss's orders, which he does. He's got 1 copy of it. So I think what Eagle's doing here is good, and I think it's absolutely the best option. But I still think that Gustavo's kind of leading and forcing Eagle to respond. And I think, when Gustavo on paper has the advantage in the game, this is exactly where he wants to be.
Yeah, there's, again, turn 2, Igor sort of stumbled, just having to do the Trinity Charge rather than Trinity Nova and getting some prizes and some energy into play. He just had to, set up his attackers, which left energy around for Gustavo to take full advantage of. He's straight away got an escape rope. Gustavo's playing 2 of these in his deck list to help move that Urshifu out the way. It's, again, slightly different from Tord's build where he has the Artillery and the Tower of Waters. Gustavo's using no Artillery here, so he's having to play some additional switching cards, and Rope being pretty effective here. Igor simply just sends up the other Arceus as if nothing's happened, but this really helps Gustavo go for probably a Cheryl play alongside a Gale Thrust here. Not a too shabby option. It's a little bit worse when there is the Dunsparce still around, but we'll see what he can piece together. It's still not a bad thing at all to undo a ton of damage.
Yeah, and you did see Igor thinking a lot after that rope was played, thinking, can I afford to put one of my other Pokemon active? The answer is no. You cannot give up that Dunsparce. You cannot give up your only Sobble. You've got to leave your Arceus in the active. And we do see there, we got so we actually went for an Inteleon here.
Yep.
Which will for the Evolution Incense, and you got the Cheryl for the healing, and the Scoop Up Net to get the Inteleon out the active. And of course, you've got a Sobble you can evolve, and a Drizzle you can evolve in the future as well.
Yep, you can see why this engine is so popular among players. You are cherry-picking perfect cards for the situation. Cheryl, one of these supporter cards that has been in and out of deck lists. Only really the Inteleon players are the ones that can take full advantage out of it, so that you really are just getting things as and when you want. Interestingly, we're going to see Scuba Net into Sobble here. Gustavo may not be happy enough just with a Gale Thrust unless he has other plays up his sleeve here.
We've got a Drizzle.
Yeah, more shady dealings. It's one of those things where you don't really like just throwing away scoop up nets. They're so valuable, as we just saw. But Gustavo is going to go ahead and grab a quick ball here. Going to get rid of nice Snorlax, and he can start putting down potentially another Urshifu threat here.
Absolutely he is.
Seems right to me. But interesting that he didn't go back into the Urshifu straight away here. He's gone into Drizzle, so maybe he has another card up his sleeve.
Yeah, I must confess, I was also thinking, you go into the Urshifu, you Gale Thrust. Just passing a turn. I mean, what's he waiting for here? I mean, is he looking for a boss's orders to KO Dunsparce and then hit into the Arceus properly?
Yeah, I think the idea here is that Gale Thrust doesn't do a huge amount for you. When you're not knocking out an Arceus, it can simply get Sharon's Cares up, and then your opponent can once again get the initial hit on the Urshifu. So he's just saying, why do this 150 when I can just wait to deal with the Dunsparce again, and I'll put myself one Gale Thrust away from the Arceus. It's one of these nice things where you get to keep that one prize option open for Igor. It's not changing too much in terms of the game state. Gustavo's already pretty far ahead on the prize race, so I like the patient approach here. It's always a little bit confusing when your opponents are choosing not to do anything with their turn, where they have the potential to deal damage. Because again, you could force Igor down a corridor where he's forced into a Sharon's Care play rather than an Avery or a Marnie, but Gustavo's not too afraid of those things at the moment.
No, and I'm looking at the board here. Gustavo's got a pretty straight 2-turn win. Yep. Next turn, you use a G-Max Rapid Flare to KO the Sobble and Dunsparce. Dunsparce is then off the board. It's not coming back, and you just Gale Thrust and Arceus for the win. So that gives Eagle this turn and next turn. Eagle's not winning this turn and next turn.
No.
So as it stands at the moment, if everything Gustavo is trying to do works out, Gustavo's got this game in hand, and it's really up to Igor to try and stop it. We do see a boss's orders coming down off of a Drizzile. So, I mean, is he going to be going after that? Because the Urshifu needs 2 attacks. So potentially trying to get that Urshifu. The thing is, Gustavo could still G-Max Rapid Flow.
Yeah.
Except that the Urshifu is going down. Yep. And just use the backup on the bench to Gale Thrust.
Yep, absolutely. I think Gustavo has set himself up, as you said, really well in a 2-prize sort of board state. And Arceus is just quite linear at this state in the game when there's only been 2 prizes taken. You can pretty much know Arceus' damage cap. Even late game cards like the Galarian Moltres aren't a threat at all right now. So Gustavo is not concerned by this boss's orders attack at all. He has set himself up really nicely. As long as he can keep finding those Rapid Strike energies, at least this turn, he's not going to have any problems.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he needs Rapid Strike energy this turn, and then he needs an Urshifu this turn or next turn, doesn't matter, and a Fighting Energy next turn. And that is his route to victory. At that stage, he basically wins the game. Potentially a little bit of gusting if Eagle tries to stall with another single prize Pokemon, but I don't think that would really change the outcome here. As we do see...
Yeah, it's going to be Palpad Piers.
Love this. Love this.
Piers is looking like a really clutch one-of in Gustavo's list. Choosing not to play that Artillery, a little bit awkward, but at least Piers can get you there. And he has the license to go for it this turn alongside the Cheryl if need be later on in the game. So it's a great recovery here. He can now scoop up net that Inteleon again, and he's got a ton more deals to go. You can go ahead and cherry pick that Piers this turn. It's got to be the selection, so you can make sure you have that Rapid Strike energy available to, once again, help him set up for a Gale Thrust on the following, because Gustavo knows that Igor's already got rid of his Palpad as well. So the one Clara and the one Palpad have been dealt with. That Dunsparce isn't coming back again.
No, and I love this Inteleon engine. He just used Inteleon to get his one-off Palpad.
Yep.
To get his one-off Pierce back into the deck, and then scoop up netting it to re-evolve and get his one-off Pierce back. It's absurd what you can do here, and we do see all the energy being discarded. We see those double KO, and now we need either a Fighting Energy or an Urshifu Fighting Energy, and Gustavo's got the win next turn. Eagle could put up the Sobble to try and stall, but it doesn't actually do anything rather than letting Gustavo win one turn later. So all Eagle can do here is KO the VMAX and just hope Gustavo doesn't get a VMAX energy. But there's Sobble and Drizzle on the board. There are so many outs.
There's a lot of outs, but here comes Amani. That's the best news, the best play really that Eagle can do here. Maybe Gustavo doesn't have access to any of his remaining incense level ball Drizzle, Inteleon, scoop up nets. A lot of them have been played, so it's possible for Gustavo to have a whiff here. And that's really what Eagle's got to hope for. He can take out this 3-prize Pokemon and, try and have an easier prize route and at least deal with the biggest threat on the board right now for Gustavo. But the threat is, as soon as you're taking knockouts against an Urshifu VMAX deck, Raihan is then on the table, and that could really swing the game to really close out here as well.
No, absolutely. It's so difficult because Igor hasn't actually taken any prizes yet. Because of that Cheryl play we saw from Gustavo earlier, these are going to be prizes 1 and 2. Well, that's a little bit awkward. You're quite far behind. So we see the level ball. It's probably going to be for a Drizzle here. But what even are you looking for at this stage? Like, what can Igor do? Essentially, all you're looking for... Oh!
This helps a little bit.
Well, this means that a Gale Frost on its own will not get a KO. Puts Arceus up to 310, and the 150 doubled is 300. That puts you a tiny bit out of range.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Gustavo isn't playing Zigzagoon, and he's also only playing Sword and Shield Inteleon. He's not playing Quick Shooting. So this might force a different line from Gustavo, maybe a Boss's Orders play, something like that.
Has he played his Choice Belt yet?
He does have Choice Belt, so that's his only other option. So he can get to 180, and doubling that up will still get him over the line. But it's forcing an extra piece at least.
Absolutely.
So Igor doing all he can here.
Yeah, and I think this is perfect from Igor. I think everything Igor's doing is exactly what he needs to be doing. You're getting the KO to get that threat off the board. You're forcing your opponent to have more resources at the same time as using the money to put them down to a smaller hand. There's nothing more you can do. I think Igor had the perfect turn. For this point in the game, for the board states we've got, Igor could not have done more there, but Igor's got the Inteleon engine, and it's little things like he can draw a Drizzle and Evolve or an Inteleon. You know, there's too many turns where you draw the Inteleon, but you've only got Sobble on the bench. It's just every out is available to him. There's the VMAX.
Oh boy.
There's the energy.
This is looking pretty wrapped up. We need to get moved out of the active position and the Boss's Orders or that Choice Belt. Those are the things we're looking for here to close out the game this turn.
There's Tower of Waters
is
for the retreat.
Easy pivot. So we're at least
10 damage away from the win.
Wow, okay. Yeah, the big charm helps Igor hold on here. It's a lot of damage from Gustavo, but it's not the game just yet. This is a huge sigh of relief for Igor to claw back into this game.
Still gives a lot of outs, because the thing is that next turn, if he stays in the active, Gustavo can get a KO. If he retreats to the bench, Boss's Orders or Rapid Strike Energy for G-Max Rapid Flow will end the game. So Gustavo is still very much in the driver's seat here. There's still a lot of outs, but Igor is doing everything he can. The game is still going on. He's still in it. Gustavo is now on a 1-turn clock. Igor probably wins next turn.
Well, we need the Sharon's Care would be the big swing here. If we can see a Sharon's Care, that's going to change the tide of the game quite nicely for him. I'm not spying it in his hand here. No, that's a Melanie, right? Yeah, that's a Melanie, unfortunately. All these full art supporters make it so hard to see.
Oh, is he not? I see, there's no... I think he might have a scoop up net in hand, but he doesn't have a Sobble on the bench because of those G-Max Rapid Flows coming out and, KO in the bench. So... has he not got access to any shady dealings here?
Doesn't look like he does. Just the quick balls, unfortunately, not going to help him out too much here. He can bounce the stadium to make it difficult for Gustavo to move in and out of the active position. He can try and get a Malevolent Charge down from a Moltres, but I'm not sure if he has quite enough energy to attack with it this turn. He may be forced into a retreat into Melanie play to draw some additional cards here. Yeah, it's just really an awkward hand from his own Marnie.
I mean, he's got enough energy to attack with a benched Arceus. He's got the free energy on there with a double turbo. He's hitting 180, and that is enough. That will get the KO. So Igor can win in 2 turns, but I think you're right. Without the Sharon's Care, with the Sharon's Care, Gustavo's route becomes much more difficult, kind of forces him to have the Choice Band, really. Without Sharon's Care, then it's Choice Band or it's Rapid Strike Energy for the G-Max Rapid Flow, and that is a very different way, and it looks like we're just seeing a retreat here, and a training court, but it's opening up options.
Yeah, I'm not sure about if he's going to put down this Moltres. It opens up a Rapid Flow again, so I think you just have to hold the Moltres play in hand. Yeah, he's doing the retreat to draw additional cards off the Melanie here. Makes a good amount of sense. I do also like replacing the stadium. Does make sense, but it seems as though there were no outs from Igor. He didn't find what he was looking for off the Melanie for 3 cards there, and he just said that he was too far behind in the game, and Gustavo strutting his stuff once again with Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. That's been the tale of the tournament so far. 2 Urshifu players have been overcoming 2 Arceus players fantastic stuff again.
No, absolutely. And, you know, Igor did everything they could there, and I think it was Cheren's care. I think that was the one card that was going to turn the tide of that game, and unfortunately,